Aura has been the surprise token of this week. It appreciated more than 20,000% again within just 7 days. The question is, can we rally further? Let's have a look at the on-chain data, the data most people are not considering. This is how that looks like on an overview. Plus 20,455%, but that's this week. Today, interestingly enough, Aura is the only token, or at least one of the few ones, that are not going up. So there is some profit taking, and that's not necessarily a surprise, right? All the people that made those gains, they're at least going to partially sell. This is then how that looks like on an all-time chart. Quite standard. At the beginning, we had our pump and dumps, then things got quiet, and now this massive explosion. What is interesting is that Aura is not necessarily driven by perpetual futures. So perpetual futures are short-term bets on the price, they are leverage on the price. And very often when we see these sharp increases, it's simply a few key players that deploy a lot of leverage on the price and then afterwards delever. But that's not what's going on with Aura. Have a look at the trading volume. It is led by the decentralized exchange Radium with 20 million of trading volume in the last 24 hours. And yes, there are perpetual futures led by MaxC, but that's only 9 million of trading volume. So clearly price discovery happens still directly on chain. Now with this rally, Aura became the third largest trending token on the Solana chain when measured by the liquidity pool size. So how much capital is in the trading pool. Number one is Fartcoin with 22 million. Number two is Popcat with 10 million. And then already we got Aura with 6 million. Here's the chart relative to Solana. There was a massive dump in Q3 of 2024 and Q1 of 2025, minus 98%. But then that decline slowed down somewhat. Aura moved in line with Solana, and somebody took that opportunity and pushed the price massively. Now, in the last 24 hours, the price went down and we also saw less buyers than sellers. So we see this here on the right. There were only 2,600 buyers, but 2,800 sellers. The price is going down. And so it's not necessarily just a few sellers that now made all of those gains that are taking profit. There's simply not that many buyers coming in anymore. There are enough people that are scared of a pump like this and see the potential dump afterwards. Now, so far, there are 32,000 holders on the Solana chain. The number of first-time traders spiked massively on the 11th of June, but since then, that's coming down. The number of token transactions is also coming down. It spiked 1 day later. Here's the trading volume over time, so in US dollars on the left, it normalized to 100% per day on the right. When trading volume was very low, it was mainly the small wallets that traded the token. And over here, we see the number of retail investors versus the number of whale investors. The way we make this distinction is by looking at minimum holding thresholds. So how many tokens are held in a wallet. Now, per tendency, I like to see accumulation by the whales, because the whales tend to make better calls in crypto, right? Crypto is both a game of luck, but also of skill. And the more the game is played, the more the capital concentrates towards the people that do have skill. So the larger wallets tend to be also more skilled. They tend to make the right calls. So if the whales are buying, that's in general a good sign. Now we see purchases by all wallet segments. So retail, medium-sized retail, and the whales. On the left side, it's 5,000 tokens, minimum holding threshold. That's roughly $1,000 worth of the token. In the middle, it's $10,000. On the right, it's $100,000. The relative growth was the largest for the number of whales. And that's also what drove the price the most, because it went from 250 wallets to 350 wallets. So 100 new wallets with at least $100,000 worth of the token. And again, the wallets on the right are 100 times more important than the wallets on the left. So if this is going up by 100, that's equivalent to this on the left going up by 10,000 wallets. So really, the small retail investor isn't driving this rally. It's the big whales. Have a look at how much value those different wallet cohorts now hold. So the small retail investor, the wallets that have less than $1,000 worth of the token, they used to hold $270,000, And that now went up to 2.2 million. So a bit under 10x in their holding. Compare this to medium-sized retail. That went from 400,000 to 9 million. So that's a 20x. Look at large retail. They only had $130,000 worth of the token, but that then grew to 35 million. And here are the whales. Again, they barely owned anything, and now they've got more than 100 million. So really, the big whale wallets bought up all the supply. Here's another way to look at this. So we've got 100% token supply, and then we check how much of the token supply is held by the different wallet cohorts. And small retail used to own a lot of the token, so 30% roughly. That now crashed down to 1.6%. Medium-sized retail also used to earn roughly a third, maybe 40% of the token. That now crashed down to 6%. The big whales, they tended to hold around 20%, and now after this rally, they hold 70%. So half of the supply got bought up by the whales. My impression is that the whales try to generate a lot of attention with that rally. In the end, it's a top performer on Solana. It's already a very large token, right? The third largest trending token. All that performance, 20,000% in a single week. That, of course, brings a lot of eyeballs to the asset. The question then becomes, will the centralized exchanges jump on this? Are they going to accumulate some of the token in order to do market making, in order to make money with the trading fees? If we see a listing on centralized exchanges, so let's say on KuCoin or on HTX or on Binance, and we also see this listing not just on spot, but also on the perpetual futures, then I do believe there is more upside potential. If we don't see that listing and the centralized exchanges just say, no, thank you, the whales own already too much, in that case, the price is very likely going to just drop back down. Probably not to the beginnings, because there are some retail investors that just buy and hold, but it's likely going to drop easily another 80, 90%. So it's very, very important to look at what's happening now with the listing. At the moment, only MEXC and XT.com is part of the party. And again, yes, there are perpetual futures by MEXC, but MEXC is listing pretty much everything on the perps. So really, we need to see new centralized exchanges coming in for this to further appreciate. The whales are making a massive bet. If that bet doesn't pay off, they're likely going to sell again. Now, to really outperform in crypto, we have to be early. We have to buy before the masses do. We have to buy the assets that aren't necessarily that popular at the time, that will become popular at some point. And so in the end, crypto isn't really that complicated. It's all about spotting trends before the masses. It's not that different to fashion or any other industry that lives from attention shift. For example, who was able to buy virtual or SPX very early? The people that spotted those trends early, that bought in early, are likely going to buy the next thing also before the masses. Have a look at this. Kyle Chessy bought SPX at 49 cents. And now we are at $1.55. Or have a look at Fartcoin. Kyle Chessy bought that at 4.5 cents. And now it's at $1.28. Here is Kyle Chessy. So he's got his own YouTube channel with 153,000 subscribers. And we are tracking his wallets. So we've got 12 wallets that we found out via on-chain analytics, via the NFTs that he owns, via the centralized exchange addresses he has, via very distinct token transactions. So we found his wallets, we are tracking them, and we get alerts whenever he's buying and selling. I'll have a look at this purchase. This is Brian Young, and he bought Virtual at 7 cents. Virtual is now at $1.92. Here's his YouTube channel. He's got more than 2 million subscribers. And we are tracking 5 of his wallets. In total, we track almost 600 wallets across various influencers. And again, we get the signals whenever those people buy and sell. Now, it's very hard to say whether or not those influencers make all the money because they are insiders or because they are smarter than others or because they influence the market. But when they are buying into something with heavy amounts, then there's a good likelihood that there's some kind of market edge. The problem, though, is that many of those influencers are not buying anything with heavy amounts right now. The issue is that the market currently is rather calm, and even the large influencers don't get that many views on their videos anymore. Yes, this is the performance of crypto in the last year, and there were a few nice winners. But the picture in the last month looks very different, and there is a good reason for that, because retail interest is going down. The reason why the Bitcoin price is still relatively high is not because of retail. Bitcoin dominance continues to climb. So Bitcoin as a fraction of all of crypto tends to creep up. And the reason is constant accumulation by the Bitcoin treasury companies. So that's led by Michael Saylor with MicroStrategy, but other companies are following as well. So that's demand driver number one. Demand driver number two is the Bitcoin ETFs. So the Bitcoin ETFs tend to buy more and more BTC over time. We are now at an all-time high of those holdings. So it's Wall Street, it's traditional finance that's buying Bitcoin. Interest by retail, on the other hand, is very low. So here's the number of search queries for crypto in blue, for Bitcoin in red for the last year. This peaked in November 2024. Since then, is going down sharply. But the price of Bitcoin is not going down. Bitcoin's dominance continues to rise and the Bitcoin price as well. Again, the market dynamic has clearly changed, and what worked in the last year might not work this year anymore. And so I'm just fascinated how many people try the same approach even though the fundamentals are changing. A lot of people simply have a broadly diversified altcoin portfolio. They own 10, 20 altcoins, and then they wonder why they don't perform as well as Bitcoin does. If most altcoins underperform Bitcoin most of the time, if Bitcoin dominance is rising because it's Wall Street that's pouring money into the system and it's not the retail investor, then that's just logical, right? This is to be expected. We have to adjust our strategies, and I definitely did. I'm, for example, buying this here. Now, this is an Ethereum chart, but not a regular one. It's Ethereum relative to Balancer. So I'm betting on a relative valuation. I'm betting on Balancer doing worse than Ethereum, and this can grow the portfolio extremely quickly. Again, most altcoins underperform Bitcoin and Ethereum most of the time, and that is because of tokenomics. The supply of most altcoins grows very, very quickly, and the demand doesn't grow as quickly because the number of altcoins is going up, and so there's more and more competition. But also, we need to see massive adoption usually. The supply grows very fast. So the number of Balancer tokens moved from 20 million all the way to 70 million in the span of 4 years. And the question is, can Balancer really grow that much quicker than Bitcoin? Or in this example, Ethereum? The answer obviously is no. And this is how it can make money in a market where the vast majority of altcoins is going down and where retail interest is still lackluster. Just have a look at the trades in our community recently. Most of those trades bet on falling prices, and that's the way to make money in the system. It's not necessarily trying to find the next 100x altcoin if there's no new people entering the space. We want to bet on altcoin devaluation, relatively speaking. Again, because there might not be another 100x altcoin in this market. If the influencers start buying small altcoins again, then of course we're going to change our strategy as well. If people start watching YouTube content on crypto again, then of course we change our approach as well. But right now the market is extremely calm and we have to adjust our strategy accordingly. I am of course sharing my own trades as well, and every 3 to 4 days I publish a premium update video. For example, here I'm watching WorldCoin closely. That was on the 26th of May. And then 4 days later, I closed the WorldCoin short. And so that's announced in a separate channel as well. And even though not every single one of my trades will end up in profit, you can feel free to just copy trade me. Again, we want to have the odds in our favor. And the way we do this is to simply flip this chart around. Everything that's red becomes green. Everything that's green becomes red. And so if you did not outperform Bitcoin by trading altcoins, then feel free to check it out, right? Premium is currently $125 per month. It's not 165, that's the price during the bull market, but you can lock in the current rate. So if you now sign up for 125, your rate will not increase. You have that forever. If you don't want to sign up via credit card, there's also the way to pay in crypto. The minimum duration for crypto payment is 3 months. Please do not fall for scams. So I only communicate for premium payments via Telegram, and my handle is Gerhard1986. Please do not message with anybody else in Telegram. I only use this account, and I also don't use Discord or Twitter or WhatsApp or any other platform for premium signups. So please make sure you've got the right handle and don't fall for scam. If it's your first time over here, feel free to subscribe. I publish this regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. If you're interested in premium, there's the link directly here on the screen. Just click on that. It will lead you to the sign up page. So see you in premium or see you on YouTube.